Hello, it is Saturday night, almost 11 p.m. Eastern time in 3 minutes, and we're here going to work on a wreath. Yay! Because I needed to come on. So, hi everyone, I'm Liliana with Eventcraft Studio, seasonal wreaths and holiday decor, and we're going to work on something. The good thing about it is that I have already prepped quite a bit of it. I spent a lot of the day, I'm supposed to be doing chores, but I kind of worked on prepping this wreath because I really want to work on it, and let's finish it up. So let's show you exactly, well, what am I saying? I know I gotta check, make sure that I could see everyone if anyone joins us. Because it's Saturday night, the weather wasn't as nice as it's been. I mean, we've been hitting the 80s. But, hey, today it was back down to like 47, so that wasn't nice. I didn't expect that. I actually thought we were gonna be able to go on a walk or something. But it's okay. It's okay, I'm not complaining because it's been pretty nice. Alrighty. I love how sometimes you see everything right away and sometimes you don't. Come on, work with me, Facebook. Last time it was like right on. Nope. Just want to be able to see in case anybody comes on. Okay. So, as I do this, let me just tell you. I have this sign that I've had for quite a while. And I just couldn't figure out what to do with it. And I'll be honest with you, the reason why I didn't know what to do with it is because I have, maybe you're familiar with the sign, I had the coordinating ribbon. However, the ribbon comes in two different colors. It comes with a white base and with a pink base. I had the ribbon that comes with the pink base. Now, the bad part about that, not that it's bad, it's just that it doesn't go with it exactly because it's too much pink, I believe. So I personally didn't like it. I'm really sorry. If anybody comes on here, I'm not going to be able to see if you have any comments because this is not cooperating. I feel like they change Facebook like every other day. I'm under videos. Oh, I think I see what happened. No, I don't see what happened. Am I under myself or am I have no idea. So if anybody comes on here and comments, I'm not going to be able to see your comments. Oh, well. Oh, now it worked. Okay, as soon as I give up. Okay, not that I expect anybody to come on, but it's okay. So yeah, so I had the sign and I had the coordinating ribbon, which I don't have on me right now because I finally gave up and put it away. And the ribbon is pink. So it's a pink base. So I really couldn't find any ribbons that were white to go with it. And I felt like white, it gets kind of dirty. So I really didn't want a white ribbon. So I worked with whatever other colors were on the sign. So, or in the sign. So I came up with these ribbons. So I have this one, which brings out the pinks that's in there. But if you notice the background, it is more beige, but that's okay. I have this polka dot. It's I'm not sure if you would call it Swiss dot, but it's a polka dot, and it has that aqua color in it, which is on the bike. I also like this one because it's a little bit fancier and it kind of tones it down, and it's not aqua, it's more of a sagey green, but it kind of it's in between the green and the teal that's on here. But then to work more with the green, I got this guy. So we're gonna work with 4 ribbons. I haven't been working with 4 ribbons in a while. So the base that we have, I already started it. It is a burlap base, and I use a pink work form. So it is pink and it's pretty, but even though you cut them off, sometimes you want to be able to see it. So it is pink. Now, the reason that I also chose the burlap is because I also like using a lot of burlap, because burlap actually, when you're working with florals and you're adding the burlap, I feel like it tones it down and makes it a little bit hey, how are you? Hi. See, this is what I do so late. Yeah, I came to do this now. I gotta work on your stars. Yay. So I feel like the burlap always like kind of tones it down a little bit, makes it a little bit homier, not so fancy. And you'll see, but you can still fancy it up because it does have the flowers. I don't know. That's just me. I like adding flowers. I like using burlap. But if you look here also, the sign has browns in it. So that's why I feel like it works with the burlap. See that? Okay. So that's that. However, to add more to the, to bring out the pink, because I don't want it to be all burlap. You know me, I like adding a second mesh. Now, I didn't have exactly, these I'm going to cut, we're going to cut together now for 12 inches each. However, I did not have exactly, that wreath is 36 points, and when you buy it, it says 36, meaning that there's 18 spots on it. 36 as in each one of these counts as one, and there's 2 at each point. So, I was only able to cut 15, well, measure out 15. So we're going to use these as well, and we're going to cut 3 more of these, which are very, very similar, but we're going to use them in the middle. So what we could do is we could alternate 2 different colors. I've tried that before with different wreaths. I have not liked it, so that's why I'm going to do that. So what are you doing? Are you crafting as well? What are you doing, lady? I know you're a crafter as well. Oh, and then finally, before I forgot. These are the flowers, before I forget, and I'll go through it. These are the flowers, and because the sign does have white, and I don't want to ignore the fact that it does have white, and we want to help it pop, I use this greenery. I thought of using like a baby's breath with white or an Astilbe. Thought about it, but for some reason I immediately thought of this, and I was like, you know what, don't overthink it. I thought of it, so let's go with it. And you see, this is so white, and it just goes. See that? Okay. All right. Sorry, you know me, I talk a lot. If you're watching the replay, fast forward, because I know I talk. So I already pre-cut the ribbons. I cut 9 of each, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to alternate them. So just because, and I'll wait, I'll show you. No, let me just show you. Just because we have these 4, usually when you're working on the wreath, you do these 2, and then these 2, and then alternate them through the wreath. I don't feel like doing that because I felt like this is like all pretty, and then this one seems like kind of plain with the pretty. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna alternate them with the 1.5 with the 2.5. Does that make sense? I'm gonna go, because I like making things a little bit different. Okay, so we'll put these aside, and what we're gonna work on right now is cutting the mesh. So this is a 10-inch mesh, I believe 10 and a half. No, it's 10 and a half. Have you been to the craft stores nowadays? They have like every single size. I like 21 inch. That base was made with 21 inch. I know a lot of people don't like it. It's intimidating. I love 21 because I feel like it's just so much fuller, so much prettier. I mean, don't get me wrong. I work with plenty of these bases, but I feel like, you know, those gaps that you get when you're working with them and you have to add more product, you don't get as many of them when you work with the 21. So don't be intimidated by 21. But what I was saying is that when you go to the craft stores now, you have 15 inch and 9 inch and 12 and so many. I just stick to my basic 10, which is sometimes 10 and a half, and whatchamacallit, and 21. Okay, so I'm gonna cut these at 12 inches. Sorry, I'm like shedding a lot. Sorry. Okay, so these are I'm gonna cut them at 12, and I'm gonna cut as many as we get, and then I'll fill in with the other ones that we have. The other one that we have, like I said, is a little bit lighter, so I'll use it wherever the sign is and to kind of blend it in, if that makes sense. It's gonna go around it, kind of form a diamond around it. So we're gonna make can't double it up because I don't have so many. I only have the one roll. I also like to cut these at 12 inches when I'm using 2, for the simple fact that I like to be able to see the mesh color that's underneath. So if I have this burlap color, if I'm going to use another one over it, then it kind of defeats the point of using a second color if you're going to lose it by covering it. For that, don't use it. For that, save the money. Don't, seriously, save your money. Don't use a second color just to use it. That's pointless. All right, how many do I have? 3, 4, wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's 5. I work in groups of 5 because it gets confusing if you try to count. For me, it gets confusing when I try to count them all at the end. figure I prep so much. I'm like, oh, I gotta do something. So at least cut the mesh here with you. But piecing it together, don't get me wrong, it's a lot at the end. I usually do this. I usually prep, if I'm working on a lot of wreaths, I like to prepare them all at the same time. So I do the assembly line thing where it's like, okay, I prepare them all, or I lay them all out. Like that table back there, it's like they all get laid out. And then I come back and I'm like, okay, now we make all the bases. Okay, now we cut all the ribbons, and then just work on them one by one at the end. Not one by one, you know what I mean. Sorry, I'm trying to 2, 3, 4, and one more is 5. I checked everywhere. You know how much product I have. I have so much product, and I could not for the life of me find another one of this. And I wouldn't doubt that when I start putting things away, because it's getting messy in here again, I'll find one. I'll find it. But this means that I use this one. This was the second roll of another design that I made. Because I had just enough. I'm like, yeah, that means that I've already used this one. Because you know what I say? Never, ever, ever, ever throw out your stuff. Every little bit helps. So I hope you're all doing well. It's getting warmer. Next week is going to be in the 80s. And I'll probably go back down to the 30s and then snow. Sorry. We had it pretty good. We barely had any snow. And this is the last one. Who was it that got hit? My son was saying, he games, and he was saying that his gamer friend that he was talking to, they lost their power because they had snow, and he said he was out in Michigan. I was like, oh, okay. He lost power a couple of weeks ago. All right, so that is 15. I need 3 more for 18. And if you notice, I always cut off the first little piece because the first little piece is like, all right, it frays. Your mesh frays. I know some people that use a hot tool to cut it. More power to you if you could do that. I feel like I'm always in a rush, and I have not yet done that. What I do for fraying is for ribbon. When you have that satin ribbon, and you know that satin ribbon that it's so pretty and it's shiny, but then it comes apart, drives me insane. So I buy fray check, and I do that for those ribbons. So you will see me sit there and do that for the ribbons, because I feel like some meshes expected, ribbon not so much. So if I ever, and I hate to use the word mistake, if I make the mistake of buying a ribbon, or I get stuck using a ribbon that frays, because whenever I find those satiny ribbons, I don't use them. I don't buy them because they're not nice to work with. So if I ever buy those, then I do at the end buy fray check. Where's fray check? Let me see. Do I have it here? Yes, I have it here. Fray check right here. Can you see? I know my lighting is like so. Oh, here it is. Can you see that? Can you see that? I'm trying to help you with the light. There. Jort's fray check. You get it on Amazon. Get at the craft stores in the sewing and notion section. That part. We have the scissors and all that good stuff. Okay, so we have our base. Now, do you see that I have a piece of tape here on the base? The reason is, I told you 21 inch. I love working with 21 inch, but this 21 inch, for whatever reason, it wasn't the ribbon. I'm sure it was me. It just kept popping up on the side here, and it was driving me crazy. But what you could do is just tuck it in. But what I said was, I put a piece of tape on there, which I lost now. Is so if I put a bow on this wreath, I'm going to put it there. So instead of like getting rid of it, saying that it doesn't work, or this, I like my circles to be pretty, you know, it's not going to be perfect, but they usually are pretty perfect, or pretty close to, you know what I mean. I can't think of the words right now. So what I do is, since it has that little bump in it, the little hiccup, put the bow there, so you're not, so it doesn't pop out too much. Okay, so let's work with the mesh. Let's add the second mesh to it. If you can see kind of there, I'm trying to go landscape. The landscape hasn't been working. Okay, so I'm going to use the first 3, which are the 3 that the additional color. Open it up, and then I close it again. I try to close it well, but I don't go too crazy, because we're going to keep opening these ties many times, because we have to add the ribbon to it, then we have to add, oh, excuse me. Hold on one second. Sorry about that. I had to get water. Where am I? Okay. So, sorry. I forgot what I was saying. Anyways, I got that annoying cough. I'll remember. So let's just keep going. Oh yeah, you're gonna keep opening the ties as you go along, because you gotta add the ribbon, and then you're gonna work with whatever other items you're gonna add to it, like in this case flowers. Okay, so it's 8. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. You could try to skip every other one, but 2 of them are gonna be one away from each other, and that's okay. So you could say like, oh, it's so much pink and pink. It's okay, because you're gonna add the ribbon, so that's gonna change pretty soon. Okay. I still say that I don't have allergies. I get slight allergies. Nothing crazy, just a little bit. And I think that's what it is. Okay, see that? We just started with that. It changes so much. It's like you should take like little stills as I go along. Okay, so I'm at the 5, even though it's a little bit over. Should really be more like 5 1/4, but that's almost impossible to measure, so we're just gonna go with the 5 and just keep adding these guys here. See that? So you do see it's a slight little difference in color, but it's not crazy. Nothing crazy, and we put it towards the middle. So give yourself permission. Give yourself permission to use what you have. Because me, back in the day, I would have not worked on this wreath until I ordered the exact mesh just so I could cut off 3 pieces. Which sometimes you have to do. Sometimes you have to do that. Like if it's a custom order, I would have totally done that unless I had told the customer. But sometimes, like for this, I mean, it doesn't look bad. But I would have spent, or I would have just tabled it until next year, because the seasons change and suppliers run out of product, and pretty soon now they're going to start working. Spring stuff is on sale now because nobody's working on spring anymore. Remember, crafters are 3 months ahead. So we are working on summer right now. Summer, back to school stuff, some Christmas. Why Christmas? Christmas in July. So yeah, that's something that I would have tabled it. I would have been like, okay, it's gone. We'll work on it again next year. And I've done that. You're actually going to see me come on here more because I have a lot of designs that I've started to work on. Stopped the inspiration. I'm like, you know what? I usually finish those on my own time, but now why not share that time with you? They always get finished, but why not do it here with you? We could chat. You can ask me questions. Whatever. I'm here. Sure, why not? So even though I already cut that ribbon, I'm not gonna lie, I'm kind of tempted to change the other ones, but I'm not. Meaning the mesh. See, here's what we have so far. See that? And you see how you see the little transition of color, because it's slightly different. But I'm gonna keep the outside all exactly the same. And besides, remember, you have the sign in there. You have the sign. Okay. But it's fun to be back. My regularly scheduled time. If you followed me, when was it? 2 years ago, when I was on like 2 times per week, at least. This was my time. This was my time. That early stuff, And how many times wasn't I live and my daughter, I would hear her in the monitor because she was, what, 2 or 3 at the time? And I'll have to run off. Sorry, cut off the live because my daughter woke up. Sorry, we have to end the live. We'll continue tomorrow. It happened a few times. She will be 6 now at the end of the month. And she sleeps through the night, which is awesome. My kids, either one of them, slept through the night until they were a year. And then after that, they would still like wake up for whatever reason. Okay. See that, how it changes? Okay. Give me 1 second. We'll keep adding there. Okay. So now, we finish this up and then we will work on the ribbon. Actually, let me get this out of the way. I have a hot glue gun here. Just taking up my space. I feel like I should move the camera more so you can see a little bit more of what I'm working on. See that? I might start going landscape, but to do that, I actually bought a camera so I could start going live landscape. So let's see how that goes. But then you'll see a lot more of my mess. So I cut off the edges when I first started with the mesh, and I fraze. So like I said, more power to you if you use one of those hot tools. As I'm working on this, I see the colors and I just think of a baby girl's room. It's like, oh, burlap. What? Yes, burlap. Burlap. I like burlap. Because I feel like you could fancy it up too. You could do so much with burlap. And like I said, when some things are too fancy, burlap like tones it down, like brings it back down. Like, don't get a little bit too crazy on me. Not too zhuzhed up. Okay. So I worked on 2 ends, 2 different sides. Oh, you see that? Okay, let's finish it up. 5 more to go, and then we start adding our ribbons. I feel like you're not seeing enough. Is my camera too close? I'm sorry. I usually don't do this stuff when I'm live. I usually don't move my cameras, but I feel like I need to show you more. Remember, I haven't been here regularly in a long time. So my whole setup, I had to like reset everything up. I thought I had to change much, but okay. So remember to curl the insides as much as you can, just slightly, so that way it doesn't fray as much. Okay. Look at the difference having it versus not. I feel like it, that's my thing. I always, well, not always, but I say 90% of the time I like to add the second mesh. So even when I teach my classes, when I have my virtual events, I like to add the second mesh. Which my participants are like, we're working with 2 meshes. I'm like, yeah. It makes such a difference. You don't always need it, but when you do use it, it just fills in those gaps. Okay, so let me show you again. This is why. When you see this, see how it has like that pretty, it looks round and pretty, see that? This side, you have these bumps. And quite frankly, I do not like these bumps. So yeah, when you're using your florals and you're filling it in, you do see it. I mean, sometimes you don't need to because your ribbons are going to fill it up, but I always like to have like that nice continuous fullness to it. So that's me. You don't have to, that's me. If that makes sense. That's my thing. I discovered adding a second mesh to it and I never went back. Most of the time. I do have wreaths because I don't want people to say like, wait, I got this wreath from you and you say you always fill it. No, most of the time. Like I said, like 90% of the time I do use a second mesh when working with a basic mesh wreath. But you know, I like adding. I know people, I've been hearing that people aren't using mesh as much. I don't know why. I add mesh to everything. I like making things pop with mesh. I love mesh. Don't get me wrong, I love grapevines. I love my tobacco baskets. You saw my video from last week. I love my tobacco baskets. But mesh, if I make bows, I like adding mesh to the back. I even had a customer recently, not recently, around the holidays. She ordered one of my bows and I said, hey, can you add some of that mesh? Because she bought the wreath and then she added the bow to it, the matching bow. She goes, hey, can you add some of that stuff to make it pop? And this was my customer's idea. And I was like, sure, I'll work on it. And I had to basically make a brand new bow. But when I added, I'm like, oh my God. It just made the bow look that much fuller and that much better. I hate to say use the word better. I'm like, well, why don't we do this more? So that made me love mesh even more. I just feel like it adds that extra bit of pop. Like when you work with the grapevine, some of my grapevines, yes, they're floral grapevines, but I stick mesh in there to give it that extra bit of pop. Okay, so our base, main part of our base is finished. See that? And now we are going to add the ribbon. Yay! The ribbon. Yes, add the ribbon. Okay, so the ribbon, we could add our sign first or we could add the ribbon. So let me give you my input on this. If you add the sign after, you're gonna squish up your ribbons and you gotta fluff them up again. There have been times where you've seen me go live and I do opposite. Sometimes I add the sign first and then we work with the ribbon and it just looks like, oh my God, it's beautiful, it's perfect. It's like so popped up because we're not squishing them, we're not flattening them. But if we add the ribbons first and then we add the sign, you're gonna flatten those ribbons. You have to be sure to go back and fluff them up. You have to. And it's like you're always fluffing up your ribbons, whether you store it, you transported it. Like if you go to a craft fair, you're hosting your own craft fair. I mean, you have a table at a craft fair. And guess what? You had these wreaths in your car. You have to fluff it up while you're sitting there. You know, you're setting up the table. You set everything up. You got to go back and fluff everything up because even if you have, I saw someone with a van one time that she truly made it she made her van fitted for her wreaths. So she put racks in there, like vinyl PVC pipes, and she could hang all her wreaths. It was genius. I loved it. But even her, because they're hanging in there and they're squishing against each other, she has to fluff them up. So fluff up your mesh, guys. Fluff up your wreaths. Your ribbons. Okay. So let's see if I remember this. Remember what I said? I'm going to alternate. Let me see if I remember alternating. So yeah, the first one is going to be this. It's going to be, we're going to alternate this guy like that. But then I want to alternate. Let's see if it works, because you know when I get to a point where I might have the two of the same next to each other, and we don't want that. That's not the point here. The point is to alternate the ribbons. I usually stick to 1 or 2 ribbons. 2 ribbons when I'm working with my wreath, and then the pop is added to the bow. That's what I said. All right, so that's the first 2. See that? Those are the first 2. And now I use this guy. Ah, I see why it doesn't work. Phooey. Because if we add this guy with this guy, see what's gonna happen? Then we're gonna have the 2 greens next to each other. The 2, man. It was good in theory. It was good in theory. Oh well. Now, do I prefer to use this one with this guy? And this guy with this guy? I'm gonna switch them. I'm gonna switch them because this ribbon already has the green in it, and I want more of the sage. So that way the color is distributed throughout. So this color already has some of that green in it. If I put them together, then this spot, wherever these spots are, is gonna be all aqua sage. That makes sense? Do you see my thinking? This ribbon was so strange. It looks like the back of it, it's actually the front. Okay. I tried it, didn't work. At least I tried it. I thought it was gonna work in my head. I don't know why I didn't think of that. I don't know how I thought it was gonna work, but whatever. It is what it is. Okay, so now this one with this one. Just try it. Doesn't work, it doesn't work. I've had times where I have a design and it doesn't work, and I leave it there, and then finally I take it apart. Why not? See, so if you look at it, you might say these colors don't go together, but when you see the wreath finally put together at the end, it's all gonna work. So just don't look at it, especially because we're gonna add a bow at the end. It's gonna have everything in it. So that's why it's like, it looks like you don't like it when you're working on it. Something just seems off. It's fine. Just keep going. And at the end, it's gonna be like, oh, it's so pretty. So you just gotta keep going. And yeah, there are some times where just things just aren't right. And that's okay. Then you just stop or reassess. I think it's funny when I'm live and I'm like, no. If anybody's here, remember that time where I had my different color meshes and I was alternating the mesh, and halfway through I said nope. I truly took apart the wreath as I was working on it live. I know. So these ribbons, I cut them at 13. And they're dovetailed. I don't dovetail always. Most of the time I do. But it also depends on the type of ribbon. Some ribbons don't look so good or should not be dovetailed. See? It's coming together. Where am I? already 11:30. Wow. Say this because I have to fill up Easter eggs. After this, it's going to be another late night for me. I've been good. I've been so much better than staying up till 3 o'clock in the morning. But tonight we have to fill up Easter eggs for the egg hunt that we have every year at the house. I should tell my husband to start filling them up now. We're trying to do it with the kids. Like, we don't want them to fill up their own eggs, you know? So normally, would I put these two colors together? No, I would not. But because they're part of a bigger picture, it works. It definitely works. And you shall see. At least for me it does. Maybe you disagree. To each his own, especially when it comes to design, right? Design is so subjective. Okay, the top is almost finished, which is awesome. Oh, that is not good. Okay, so our tie just broke off of this. Shoot. Okay, our tie broke. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use a pipe cleaner for now, and then I'll come back and I'll fix it. And if you're wondering what it means with how the tie broke, oh boy, always fun. This is gonna be rough. So I have to come back and I have to use my pliers, because this fell off. See that? This broke off, which is not good. It wasn't me, it was this. So for now, I just use a pipe cleaner onto. You don't want that falling off on your customer, right? Okay, one more for the top. It's making me wonder that I can't pull, but you have to. You have to pull. You got to push the items, the ribbons down in the mesh, so it's not like I'm being crazy pulling. But whatever. It is what it is. I got to come back and work on that. Alright, so here's our top. There is our top. Very, very pretty. And now we continue. Now, if you're wondering, no, I'm not going to show you. I was going to give you a sneak peek of what it looks like with everything. No, we're not going to do that yet. You get to see it at the end. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to work where I left at the top. The top has the rose one up first. I'm going to put right underneath as much as I could the opposite one. But there comes a point where it's almost going to look like they're the same one right under each other. You can only do so much. It's okay. It's going to happen. And that's because of the manufacturing of the base. Can't really do much about that. That's how they manufactured it, and that's how it's going to be. Now, if you use the same colors throughout, like the same ribbons, you don't alternate them, then that's not an issue because it's the same exact one. But if you do alternate them, then you're going to come across that. And it's okay. Because you have so much going on in the wreaths that it's not the end of the world. Has like a shabby chic look to it, right? That was the word I was trying to think of before, and I'm like, what is the style that it looks like? Okay, so we are a third of the way. It's okay, it goes by quick. Now, what I always like to tell everyone is as you're working at the bottom, try to... You saw what I did when I pulled out that one tie up top? Like, you really got to make it a little bit better once you get to the ribbons, to the second, because that's it. Like, once you get to that point, you're not really going to be opening them much anymore. You might adjust them a bit to add florals or whatever it is that you're working with, but you're not really going to open them so much. So that's why you got to be a little bit more secure, a few more ties when you do it. I believe I cut enough. The worst is that for some reason, and it's happened to me a few times already, where I always cut too less. Instead of cutting 18, I cut 16. It's very strange. It's like a strange phenomenon that I do. I do it a lot. See, like right now I'm looking, I'm like, are we short? Are we missing? That's right. Get to it. We have to cut more, we have to cut more. Like I said, it's happened before. And to hurry up, to make matters, to not be here all night, I am going to not finish it. Meaning I'm not gonna clean it up. You know what I mean by cleaning up, right? Cleaning up meaning I glue all the points. I add a hanger to the back. Make sure the back is cleaned up because I don't like having things sticking out in the back. So I don't clean them up usually during the lives. I don't. A time that I do think about cleaning them up is when we're doing them together. So we have those virtual events that I like to do. I explained to you a little bit more how to clean them up when we have the events. But then our events tend to be so long that people are like, okay, it's okay, we'll clean it up at our own time. Which is okay. Just clean it up. We're actually going to have one in May. Next month. It's going to be a patriotic one. And it's going to be mesh. I finally received the materials this week. So I will be making the sample. And I will be making the announcement for it. Like, I'm talking about it, but I don't have an official date yet. So, like, the official announcement. Like, hey, this is the date. Here's the link. If you go to my website right now, under virtual events, you'll see that the page is up. It says we'll be back in 2023, but I'm already working on something, but it's not up yet. Because I need to make the sample. And it is going to be a mesh wreath. I feel working with mesh is a little bit easier with those events. Virtual events. And it's going to be patriotic. It's going to be fun. Okay, see that? Definitely shabby chic. very cute. But do you see what I was saying in terms of the color? How the green is distributed throughout. Same thing with the this ribbon. It has those spots of the same green. But if we had put them together, then that green would have been all focused in the same area. Yes, it's still distributed throughout the wreath, but it's a little bit more even doing it like that. See that? So at this point, I like to add my sign. Okay. So I have to figure out which is the point where I'm going to be adding the sign. Meaning, which is my top. Now, I decided which is my bottom. And my bottom is on here, remember? That has a little bit of a lump, which you really don't see anymore because I meshed to it. I'm sorry, I added ribbon to it. So the top of the wreath, I usually like it to be... Okay, this is going to be where my bow is. The top of my wreath is right here. I like it to go where I can put a hanger. And it's going to go right here. That's top of my wreath. Okay. Your top of the wreath may be somewhere else for your own purposes, but this is the top of my wreath. So sometimes I mark it. Call me an overthinker, but I mark things because I like to know where I'm working. So I'm going to use this bit of ribbon right here just to put it there. Just to let me know, hey, this is that's the top of my wreath. That's the top. So now I'm going to add the sign. The sign, I already prepped it. I stapled on pipe cleaners and then I added glue to them. That's how I like to add them. I also added a bit of ribbon on it to give it a little bit more depth so the staple wouldn't go through. But look at that, how I changed it. Remember, we're gonna add a white with the greenery, so it's gonna give it that extra pop. So my signs, I don't like them being completely on top. If that's your thing, that's your thing. It also depends on the sign. Does your sign allow it itself to be put in? Maybe it doesn't. Okay, so I'm just adding. I'm placing it. I'm not securing it 100% because it may not want to stay there. Remember what I said? We're going to have to come back and fluff all those ribbons. Also, we can't make this too secure because the top of my wreath. How do you want your sign? Do you want it to be completely straight up and down? Do you want it to the side? What I do know is the top of my wreath. So I want my sign to be straight with that. Again, it's all about personal preference. If you like that, you like that. If you don't, totally cool. Totally cool. We all don't like the same thing. So different flavors. This wreath has a lot more stuff going on that we have to add to it. So it's totally cool. Okay, so this is what we have right now. And it looks so white. We have to come back, we have to fluff it up, we have to figure out where do we like the sign there? Are we gonna tuck it in more? Are we gonna add more of the mesh? I'm sorry, are we gonna pull out more of the mesh? Do we like the mesh? Do we like the sign being up top? Some people like the sign up top because they don't want to hide it, because, you know, to each his own. They don't want to hide the sign. Me, I like the sign being slightly tucked in. But these are all little things that you can do later on when you're cleaning it up, when you're adding extra after you added your florals or whatever, because we're adding florals to this. Remember, we're adding florals. But look what we have so far. See the difference of it being tucked in? Okay, so I think my top is pretty straight. Okay, but look at it now. See, this is the exciting part. See how we added all these different ribbons, and it's like, do all these ribbons go together? Yes, look at the sign. Look at the sign. The sign has all these crazy colors. They're not crazy, you know what I mean. All these different colors, because the ribbons look crazy. If you look at the ribbons, you're like, hey, do these realize? Is she really putting all those ribbons together? But then after you add the sign, it's like, yes, they do work. See that? It brings it all together. Has that pretty shabby chic look. Now, I'm going to admit something. I picked those pink flowers. Now I'm looking at white, but the greenery has, meaning looking at, thinking white. But no, we're going to stick with my original plan. All right. So now that this is laid out here, remember, we have to fluff this up. We have to make things pop. But we're not doing that right now. We're going to keep working. Remember, people ask me if I ever wanted to teach, you know, like kids. Because I keep saying it over and over and over again. I have my kids, but they don't listen to me. Fluff your ribbons. Fluff them, fluff them, fluff them. You have to go back and fluff. Tuck this out. Make sure if you want it to pop out, but you don't want the words and the sign to be hidden, right? No, no, no. So we did this for now because I did it quickly. But then afterwards, we're going to take a photo of it, walk away, step away from it, and then come look at it and see. But my ribbons right now, they're squished up. They are super squished. I got to come back and make sure all these ribbons, these pretty ribbons, are nice and popping. But for now, it's okay. For now, it's okay. All right. So let's work on the florals. I took out, I believe, way too many florals. But you got to see. Where do you want them? Most likely 3 around the sign. And then a few more. So 3 around the sign, then maybe 4 around. So I picked 7. Let's see. Let's see. I did not prep these because I wasn't sure if I was going to use them. Do they pop too much? I don't know. I tried it. I had like a more of a mauve color, but I feel like they disappeared a little bit too much, and you want some things to pop from your wreath. At least that's how I feel. So I'm going to, let's add these and see what happens. Okay, so we have our top part. Every work form is different. This one is very, very elevated. I mean, when you buy them, they say elevated, but this one's like very elevated. So the back of it kind of disappears, which is more reason why I want to add my flowers. Make sure that they stick out. Alright, so I don't need that there anymore. I don't think it's too bright. Could be too bright. I don't know. What do you think? Let's add these first. Let's add the greenery. I picked them. I picked these because of the color that's there. You know what? These are a little bit. Yeah, babe. Who's needing me? Okay. So I'm just gonna keep going with it, see what we get. So this is, I put this one completely on top, but that one is actually on the second row. So I'm going to add one right here. One right here. Let's see what we got. Triangle. So if I have one right up here, then I'm going to add the other two right there, the other two spots. And I got to be careful because remember, we had a little mishap. Put that one in all the way because that, I have to bring out my tools later. to finish working on the work form. If you missed it, if you're watching the replay and missed that part, if you fast forward it, one of the pins came off. So these little ties, one of them came off as I was working. So that's like, don't panic. I mean, yeah, you can have a little panic, but come back, bring out your pliers and reattach it. Add glue to it. But don't take your whole wreath apart. No. It's tempting. You know, you're like, oh, I messed up. I'm done. No, you're not done. It's fine. Okay, so one, two. That one here. Do you see what I'm doing? Does it make sense? Oh, we haven't even made the bow yet. I completely forgot to make the bow. Because you know I want a bow. Completely forgot about the bow. What's up with that? I remembered the bow because I was about to cover the spot. Do we want a bow? That's another question. Do we even want a bow? Okay, so 1, 2. I think I should go here, but I'm going to add it here instead. I like bows. So yeah, let's add the bow. I feel like the bow adds so much more. Bows make things pretty. This is very, very bright. This pink is super bright. Very, very bright. But why does it go? To me, it goes because the sign is very white. So it kind of balances it. See that? So pretty. And now we're going to fill in with these. And this will bring the extra pop for the white. This is when it gets exciting for me. It's really, really exciting. In the beginning, I'm like very focused. Putting things together. Now it's like, okay, now it's fun. But we still got to make a bow. We still have to make that bow. So let's make that bow. To make the bow, I was working upstairs. So I prepped for everything upstairs. So we have the ribbons. This ribbon came apart on me. But it's okay. And something happened. I hate to say that something happened. It wasn't like something big happened. But as I was working, where did my other ribbon go? Oh no, where'd it go? Oh, it's over here. As I was working, this ribbon came from a craft store. And it's, you know, craft store rolls have 3 yards, 4 yards, or, you know, they're not 10-yard rolls that we get from, actually I can't say Hobby Lobby does have 10-yard rolls. But most craft stores do not sell big rolls. So I said, it's fine. I'll make my bow and I'll have just enough to make one nice little loop at the end. So as I'm already dovetailing, I noticed I had that. See that when they combine them, when they fuse them? But I noticed that after the fact. So by the time I cut, when I decided to cut a second piece, it left me with this and only this. So I don't know what's gonna happen now. I say it like it's such a sad thing, but it is to me. So let's work on our bow. Let's make our bow. Because I don't know how I'm gonna add that piece now. I actually thought, as I was designing the wreath, I actually thought of adding this aqua to it. Because of the sign. And it'll give it an extra bit of pop. I actually thought of that. Maybe to the bow. And if you know me, I always add a little bit of extra ribbon, a different ribbon to the bow. So maybe it'll work. And it also, because the polka dot ribbon already has that color, it actually may work. So let's see. I'm not gonna go crazy, but it actually broke my heart. So here's another one. I actually got this one on clearance, which is always exciting. How long ago was that? I don't know. Okay, so I'm making my bow. I'll make it quickly. They're 12-inch loops. 3 loops each. Sorry. Apologies if you can hear my kids, because my kids, I let them stay up on the weekends. My kids have a lot of energy. So how, do I want a regular poofy bow or do I want, yeah, it's a poofy bow. It's a poofy bow. Because a pretty even bow is not going to work at this point. Because the wreath came out very poofy itself. And because of the location that I'm going to put the ribbon. I like my poofy bows. Oh, I'm still going to have a little bit of ribbon like that. Okay, so we have the first one. Sorry if you see me, I keep pulling on the ribbon. It actually curls it up a bit. I thought about coming on live tomorrow, and I'm like, you know what? No, it's Easter. Who's gonna be watching me on Easter? I mean, everybody's sleeping now, but you know what I mean. It's different. And my kids probably wouldn't be too happy if I did that. I think it's funny that I'm back at this time. If you know, I've been slowly trying to come on at normal times, but it just doesn't happen for me, friends. It just does not happen. I try and I try. And I got busy with things and I'm like, no, I need to come back, but do them, you know, Sunday afternoons. No. So I try to get sleep. That's what it is. Well, I'm trying to. If you know me, you know I don't sleep, guys. Okay, so we have that. I'm debating. I'm really debating on adding the green one to it. I think if I add that green, I'm only going to add 2 little strips to it because it's very, your eye goes to it so much. But you need to complete it. Is that enough? Can we just do 1 loop like that? You could. It's too short. No. Sorry, I just changed the design of the bow right now, if you notice that. Just change it. It's okay. I changed it twice. How long did that take? I'm only going to add 2 of these. Actually, no. Yeah, I'm only going to add 2. And when you see me pulling on the ribbon, it's because I'm measuring it. I'm measuring, making sure. But you see how your eye goes straight to that? It's very... Like, I'm really debating, like, should we actually have it? Yeah, it needs it. Every time I'm like, yeah. Okay. But I only added 2 loops because it's a lot. So now, what I want to do is I want to add 1 more loop of this guy. I'm doing it. I'm adding 1 more. I just changed. That's what I say. It's like you have an idea, you're working with something, and as you're halfway through, you're like, nope, not doing it, and it's okay. I've had people message me like, do you think I can do it? I'm like, yes. Do you like it? Yeah. Why not? Go for it. Okay, so this is where I wish I had people with me on right now. Because I really, really want to add this, but I don't know how. I know how. I'm going to take this off that I just added. I'm going to add one of these there. See that? Yay, to add a little bit of the color. That's exciting. I'll leave that one like a tail. See that? That's the one that was fused. And then we'll take the other one and we'll go right over it like that. And you're like, what the hell are you doing, Lil? You'll see. You'll see later. Later. It all comes together at the end. Trust me. See? See that? Okay. So now we got to wrap this guy up. And remember, I don't know what gauge I'm using. I don't know. I use any wire and I wrap it up many times. I do not trust wire. I do not trust pipe cleaners. I don't trust things because I'm afraid they're going to fall apart. So I just wrapped this guy up. Believe it or not, I just wrapped it up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times. I just wrapped it. 7? 1, 2, 3, 6 times. Because I don't want this guy to fall apart. So I just made a very tight. Do you see that? I just wrapped it 7 times. I'm going to cut it. Remember, never with your scissors. Cut it. Twist it. Don't twist it too much, remember, because you don't want to break it. And then I cut it. And then you might say, oh, you just cut it. It's like, what did you do? Because how am I going to attach it to the wreath now, right? Now I use a pipe cleaner. If you want to use another wire, depending if you're working with a grapevine or whatever, yeah, now you could use that. But you see how the bow just came together? It's a mess still. To me, this is still a mess because you still got to fluff it up. We still got to turn things in different directions, all that good stuff. But you see, it's a pretty bow. Okay. I love making bows. I'm surprised I don't make more bows. I should have bows all over my house. They just work. You can just put bows anywhere. So now I'm going to add this bow right there. But now, remember, we had a little accident here. So now I have to go get a new pipe cleaner. So bear with me for 1 second. Because I need a pipe cleaner. Oh, look at that. Pipe cleaners everywhere. Perfect. Perfect. Okay, so now I use a pipe cleaner. I try to keep it right halfway. I give it a twist, one slight twist, and now I attach it to the wreath. Thank you. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Kathy. Thanks for being here with me. So remember, I don't like my bows to fall apart. So there it is. It's like, I still have tape on this guy. We still haven't finished this. I'm just putting the wreath together. We're just working with it. Afterwards, we clean it up. I think I should have like lives on me cleaning up a wreath because I really put too much time, some may say. Alright, so now that that's there, now I'm going to attach it here. And we also still have these little points here, which is fine. When you're working with it, maybe you don't want to add ribbon at the point where you're going to be attaching a bow because it's like a waste. I get that. You know what? I'm going to take this off. Oopsie, that didn't want to work. Didn't want to work with me standing up. And that's fine. Sorry, that's my dryer. I'm doing laundry. Those are my Saturday nights. Crafting and laundry. The other side go. Here it is. You need patience. That's why you gotta take your time and just don't give up. Don't give up. I've had lives in. Oh, that's you too. I know. Like, those are my weekends, fun times. So much fun. It's like, can we leave the house today? It's Saturday. It's like, no, I got laundry to do. It's so bad. I always say I'm gonna start doing more chores during the week, but come on. I actually went back to corporate America. Got my working on my old company again. And okay, I'm doing what I said I wasn't gonna do. I'm not gonna fluff up the bows and stuff like that yet, but there you go. This gives you an idea. It's not fluffed up yet, but that gives you an idea. Okay. It's not pretty because you definitely have to fluff it up. You have to fluff it up. You have to. But I'm not doing that yet. Honestly, to me, it looks like it's a little bit too much to the side. But I'm not supposed to be spending time on this right now because this is stuff that you do after. Does that make sense? Do you understand why? Because I could spend another 20 minutes just making sure the wreath looks pretty. Because then we got to cut these, we got to dovetail these, we got to curl these. Maybe we want to cut some of these. You know, there's so much more that goes into that. But before, we're not finished yet. We still have to add, I'm laughing because I'm looking at it in the camera over there and it looks so bright. The pinks. But now we got to add these. We got to mute down, we got to tone down the pinks. Why do we got to tone down the pink? Remember, most of the wreath is very shabby, chic, very muted colors. However, the white in this wreath really, really pops in the sign. And so does the white. So now we're going to add more white to this to like even it out. Because when you look at it, yeah, even though the pinks and the florals are very distributed throughout the wreath, so it's not like your eyes going straight to one side of the wreath. Like, like you know what I mean. Like all the pinks are to the left, so your eye just goes there. They are spread out. However, I want to balance it more because it is a lot of white in the middle. So let's cut these guys. And how many ready? 1, 2, 3. Let's see what we got. Let's just cut them. Cut them, and remember, you gotta take time to fluff them out. Does it make sense? Yeah, thanks. Because sometimes I'm like, do I make sense? I'm what some people call an overthinker for a lot of things. But in the end, I'm like, but you see why I do it? Okay, so we have this guy here. This was in my box, one of my greenery boxes, and it's messed up. It's flat. So we have to take a moment, and we gotta fluff it up. Because it doesn't look the same if you don't take that quick moment. These items are wired, usually. So take a quick second, and try to just fluff it up a teeny bit. See, from that to that. I mean, this wasn't the best fluffing, but there's only so much you can do. Actually, no, you can do a lot more. I may not be lazy. But fluff them up. And even once it's on the wreath, you could change it up a little bit more. Change the direction of it. Do you want it to go more to the left? Do you want it to go more to the right? It all depends. How do you want it to look fuller? All that good stuff. I think I bent this one too much. Also, this one moves up and down. You know what I mean? Up and down. Like the wreath thingy moves up and down. I love up and downs, but then you gotta make another decision. Do you want it all to the top? Like this? Or do you want it to be more open? It's decisions. I love up and downs. When you're working on something and this is too much, you could cut it and make more. And you get more product from the up and downs, I believe. I feel. That's why I like the up and downs. Okay, how many do I have so far? We're almost finished. Oh, I didn't take a tag off. Sorry. Have you ever made an arrangement and had a tag inside? I have. It happens. After you make it, you're like, ugh, and like, how do I get to that? How do I get to that price tag or whatever? It's all the way in there. It happens. Okay, so I think that's it. I think I cut too many. It's okay. Let's see. Let's see if my idea works. Because sometimes I have these amazing ideas, like I did with the ribbon when I started, and the ribbon did not work. My ribbon idea did not work. See that? The white? I think it works. I think it's going to work. I am quickly adding these here. I am not cleaning them up. Yeah, it definitely works with the sign. But you see how if I added those two, like your eye goes straight to the white now? So that's why you have to make sure you balance it. Spread it out. I haven't thought of adding baby's breath or another one to the flower, something behind the flower. But I'm like, no, that's not. Now my daughter's screaming for me. I know I'm live. See that? Yeah, it needed that. This was definitely the best greenery for it because it had so much white and because of the sign. This sign, when I tell you, I've had this sign for 2 years, I want to say. And I just couldn't figure out what to do with it because I didn't have any white ribbons and I did not want to use white. I don't want to use white. Actually, I just got reminded I have to make a bow for my mother-in-law's wreath because the beige ribbon got very messy on her street because she has a lot of traffic. She's like, you need to make me a new bow. I'm like, okay. I'm like, fine. So she'll be over here tomorrow, so she's going to be picking up her bow. So I guess after we finish our live, I'm making a bow for her. Actually, no. I'd rather bring it over there, so I'll go live. I'll go live and I'll show you me changing the ribbon, the bow on the wreath. It's not that easy to just change it. At least for me, because I'm kind of crazy and I really, really, like when I say that I do not want anything to fall off, I go crazy securing items. I over add glue, I over add everything. You do like it? Yeah, thank you. I still wonder, you know, like I do things and it's too much. Like I'm in the basement right now. So I leave this and let's say right now later after this I'm picking up the laundry. So as I'm picking up the laundry, this is going to stay right here in the spot. And as I'm going up the stairs, which are right behind, I'm just going to keep staring at it. And I keep looking at it and then it's like... So I'm going up the stairs. Am I going to change that? And you see me like quiet. But that's what it is. You keep looking at it after for a while. And that's why sometimes when people will see my lives, the item afterwards is like, that wasn't like, that's like, yeah, I know. I made a few changes to it after the live. That means I went up and down the stairs a little bit too much and I just, or sometimes I'll just stand there. Like, what can I change? Something's off. When I do that, it's because something just isn't off. Something doesn't feel right. But I have tons of greenery, but the one that immediately I was like, no, it has to be that one. Like I even thought of these. I thought of this. See how it has like little, I don't know what they're called. What is it? Doesn't even say anything. Pomponac? That's what it says. I don't know. I thought of these. I was like, nah, not enough. I thought of this guy. Too yellow. I need it white. White, white, white. So, better said that. I thought of these, what's on it now, but then as I was taking these guys out, those came out as one. Like, you know what? Let's try them. No. No. I think that's it. Do we have to add one more? I think we have. Just because we have the spot, why not? We have the spot. That's it. Now, we have two more. We could add a flower. We could add one here to the bow. No. Or we could add a flower to it. We could do that. No. At least not right now. It's not making my heart. Could we add this color to that? We could. I even thought of adding loops of this throughout, but I think that's it. I think we are finished. Sorry. When I look at the Facebook here and I see my mess on the table, so I apologize. But I think that's it. So now what needs to be done, and like I said, I'm not going to go crazy now. You'll see the photo probably like in a day or two. When I finally clean it up, and I'll take a photo of it on my door. You know, like you see all my photos, pictures, they all look the same because they're all on my door. And you'll see the finished version, like what it looks like when it's all cleaned up. But for now, this is not too bad in my dark basement. These have to be curled up. You got to make a decision. Am I going to curl these? Am I going to cut them more? Sometimes I do cut them. I like big bows with all the streamers on them. I know some people really like 2 streamers on them. I keep the crazy streamers. This guy, yeah, I'll cut this guy. But I always say it's better to have too much ribbon and cut it than later on decide like, sorry, I see my hair everywhere. Like, oh, I needed to add more ribbon to it. Then it gets crazy because where are you going to get the ribbon from? You could, but it's a pain to then have to add it to the back. Might be it could be a slight waste of ribbon, but it's a time saver in the end. This guy right here is going to get dovetailed because it's short. I'll just do it quickly. I really like this ribbon. I don't know if anybody's worked with this ribbon. It's a canvas. I've had this one for years. And I have it in the 1.5 as well, and I never used it. And I'm so glad I can. Step back. This guy needs to go more up. Remember, they're not secure yet. They're not secure. Some wreath makers, I'm sure you see, we all follow each other. You're always adding. You're always adding. Me too. I'm always adding. But kudos to the wreath makers that use the steel pick. I can't do that. You know, you add the steel pick, add glue, and then you add it to the mesh. I cannot. My mentor does that. I love her. I cannot. I did it one time. I sold that wreath, and I was freaking out for days. I sold it, and then before I shipped it out, I made sure that every steel pick in the back was bent in, and I added more glue because I was terrified that the person would, for whatever reason, touch the back and get cut. So I never did it again. I just can't. And I know a lot of people that I follow and I admire, and they do it, and I'm just chicken. I'm just paranoid. So, yeah. So what I'm trying to say is that as they're doing it, and they do it live, I'm sure you've seen them, they add the steel pick, they dip it, boom, it's done. They don't got to go back. Me, personally, I got to go back now, and I have to secure all these. So it's going to be like another hour sometimes to finish it. So, but it's done. It's finished. Still got to clean this up, but you get what I'm saying. For the most part, it's ready to go. You're guilty? You do that? You do the steel pick? I can't. Kudos to you. I admire you because I cannot do that. I cannot do that. But this is the final product. Because we needed those white guys. These little guys needed to go in there. Because this sign is too much white. Everything was very bright. So I don't know. Is this like a spring wreath? Transitional to summer because of the colors. It could be an indoor wreath depending. I could see this like in my niece's college room. I could see that. You know, it all depends. It all depends on what you like. But that's about it. That's all we got now. What I do see, because I have more of these, is a coordinating lantern swag. Absolutely. A lantern swag to go with this. Can you see those colors in a lantern swag? This will definitely work as a lantern swag. Oh, you use grape moths. Oh, yeah. No. No. I'm talking about you can't do mesh. Oh, really? You can't do mesh? No, I use the grapevines. Totally. I use my steel pick for the grapevines. I'm talking about using the steel picks for the mesh. I've seen other wreath makers do that, and I have a heart attack every time they do. Yeah, no, I can't. Not with the mesh. But yeah, no, kudos to you. No. That's what I was saying. Like, oh my God, you use it with the mesh. Like, a lot of people do it. I just can't. I'm just too paranoid. And also, I've already had stitches on my finger from steel pick. So. Oh, you wouldn't? Yeah, no, I can't. They do it. And they're awesome. And I'm talking about, these are pros. These are people that are heavy hitters. And I'm like, oh my God, how do you do that? So, and I've been making wreaths for a lot of years now. And I just feel like, yeah, that's for me. But they say no. I've heard from them, and like I've spoken directly to them. And I'm like, how do you do it? They're like, it's fine. No, I'm like, okay. Hey, but me. Hey, that's just me. To each his own, right? To each his own. If it works for them and they've never had any issues, that's the thing. They've never had any issues. And these are big sellers, so. But, yeah, no, I can't do it on the mesh. Like I said, I did it once, and I hated the fact that the wreath sold. I hate it. I was like, oh, it sold. What do I do? What if? Nothing happened. Absolutely nothing happened. I would have heard. Something would have happened. So that should have been my cue to like, hey, you could keep doing it. It was fine. But that's just me. That's my paranoid personality. What can you say? But anywho, what time is it? 12:30. 12:25. Almost 12:30. We're in my kids' weekend bedtime, so we are finished. So thank you so much, Kathy. Thank you for being here with me again. I really appreciate that. So thank you so much again. I hope you have a happy Easter. If you're watching the replay, if you're here with me, Kathy, thank you so much. Have an amazing night. Like, again, have a happy Easter. Hope you have a good time with your family. I gotta go fill eggs now for my kids' egg hunt. I gotta put them to sleep and fill eggs. So, and wrap their baskets. Yeah, I haven't done anything. So anyway, that's just me. Late night crafter. That's why. Late night crafter. Thank you so much. I appreciate you being here with me. Have an amazing weekend. Have an amazing week. Again, have a nice holiday. And I'll see you next week. I like being back, so I think I'll be back again next week. Have a great one. Thank you so much. Bye.